Everybody good? Well, that's why they call it Bedlam. Lived up to the name, lived up to the rivalry. Tremendous game. Very different game. Was really explosive offensively, obviously by both sides in the first half. I thought we, really controlled things offensively, other than a couple of drives in the first half where we got down the red zone, didn't get touchdowns. So that was certainly the most disappointing part of that. That and not getting a chance to kick it there at the end. Kyler was just a little too aggressive, it looked like, with the clock. Knew that we had 5 seconds. But a good first half there. Defensively, we were probably a bit of a victim of such an emphasis coming in of trying to make them one-dimensional in the throwing game. I mean, I think that was certainly a big part of the plan, is trying to eliminate, Hubbard and of course, Justice Hill, with the respect that we have for them. And then they come out and hit 2 or 3 just big plays over the top of us, and that changes the way that the game's going to be played. And so give credit to them. I thought, we got some pretty good pressure on their quarterback. I thought Cornelius was outstanding. I mean, I thought he threw the ball as well as I've seen him throw it on tape. I thought they really played well. And so 2 offenses kind of going at it in the first half, and then it kind of flipped in the third quarter. It was started to see some stops. Game started to slow down. Defenses started to settle in, particularly frustrating on our part that had some opportunities to get it to a double-digit score game several times. And just couldn't come up with a play. Especially had some critical penalties that seemed to always happen on long runs or big plays, and that certainly hurt us offensively. But we battled. We battled the whole night. I thought 2 of the biggest plays of the game were obviously the fumble. To stop that was huge. And then obviously the 2-point play, which we defended well. Our guys, anticipated, were ready for it, and so proud of that. Proud of the way our offensive line continues to play. I think they said it's the 3rd game in a row we've had 300 plus, both rushing and passing, which is, I don't know how many times that's happened. Probably not many. And our front has really led the charge there. So gutsy win. It'll be fun for this team to continue to go forward. We got some big goals in front of us, some big games in front of us. But I think I still like what we have in that room, without a doubt. And it's a really excited locker room right now that know we won, maybe without our best, and we're going to have to continue to fight to get to our best as we go forward here. But a tremendous win. These rivalry games like this are hard. They're hard to win, and give Oklahoma State credit for a great game, and certainly thrilled to come out on top.
You give up 500 yards passing. Talk about what you were thinking, what your concept was coming into the game to try to defend what they were going to do, the bubble screens and things like that.
Yeah, they put you in a tough position. Do you load up on them in the run game? Do you double Wallace and all those guys? It's hard to do both. And so we came in thinking, let's make them one-dimensional, give ourselves some chances. As they hit some balls over the top of us early, naturally you still don't want them to get going in the run game. And so we did loosen some things up. They made some plays on some bubble screens. I thought we actually played them pretty well there the last couple of drives, which was really, really big. Got a couple of stops there. But, we've got to improve. We got to grow. We had some opportunities, especially on some 3rd and longs again, that plagued us a little bit, that we didn't get off the field. So we got to play better, but again, our kids fought through it and found a way to win and make some huge plays at the end.
Have you seen growth?
The 4th down play, the touchdown play, and then did you expect them to go for 2? And then just how the team had to rally after giving up the touchdown.
Yeah, the 4th down play, we decided to play some loose zone there. And the thought was we felt like we could get some pressure just with our rush. Our guys have been winning one-on-one, and more than anything, we wanted to make them, if they were going to get one there, didn't want it to be a one-on-one shot, to one of their guys. We wanted to make him make a tough throw in a window. And I mean, give the guy credit. I mean, they did. We came out of a zone just a little bit more. I thought we could have squeezed it better. But, I mean, they made a great play. And, so they had a good route dialed up against what we had called. Made an extremely good throw and a very competitive catch. So, we talked about before the series, we felt like that if they did score, they would go for 2. So Ruffin had a call ready, and, obviously that ended up being, probably the biggest play of the game.
Have you seen enough growth the last 5 weeks since Ruffin took over defensively? You made a handful of plays today to actually win the game, keep them right at the end zone, sack, the fumble you mentioned. But are you pleased with the growth so far, the progress of the defense?
It's a 1 week. It's a week in, week out deal right now. I mean, we're in the middle of it, and so I'm not sitting back looking at the previous 3 or 4 games right now. It's looking at the weeks that we're having, looking at the way that we're playing, and then trying to just win and be at your very best the next week. And so were we at our best tonight? No, especially in the first half. I mean, especially there. We did miss more tackles than we have been missing, which was also something that we're going to have to do better. But I do think we have improved in some areas. There's no question. I mean, I really do. I think, some of the way that we run to the football, our mentality, I do think there's absolute growth, and there's going to have to be. I mean, no doubt. Some of the challenges that we got coming up are going to be there. But the great thing for us right now is every goal that we want to be in front of us is right there in front of us, and that you got to win these games to do that. Sometimes you got to win them when you're not your best. We know here in the last couple we're going to have to find a way to get it to our best.
You mentioned big games, big goals. How do you feel about your defense going into this stretch run?
I feel great about them. I mean, that's the team we got, and I think we know what they're capable of. And so it's looking at the whole team, and I think the whole team. This team's proven it can separate from some people. It's proven that we can win tough games. It's proven that we can handle adversity. Those are all things you got to do here at the end of the season.
Thinking you rushed for 353 today. How much did that play into you winning the game? I mean, you're controlling the ball in the second half with the run game more than the passing game.
Yeah, for the offensive side of it, that was the reason that we won the game. We continue to play at a high level up front. I'm really proud of the 2 running backs too. I mean, those are the only 2 running backs we had available. I don't know what we were going to do if something happened to one of them. And so they were awesome. I mean, they were awesome. The line was awesome. We did a good job on post-snap penalties, which was a big deal for us. We controlled the line of scrimmage. We can continue to run it like that. We're going to be tough to beat.
Lincoln, last 7 plays offensively for you guys that you ran, other than the kneel down, were running plays. Mm-hmm. You talked about how important that is to you guys, but to be able to control things like that, what kind of luxury is that for your team?
Well, it's had a big hand in us winning the last 3 Big 12s, and if we're gonna do it again, it's gonna be critical. I mean, I think you have to run the ball to win, and to win games in this month and here at the end of the season. And so it's right now we feel like we can do both, and we feel like we can do both against anybody, and so that I think keeps people off guard. I think you've seen the balance that we've had offensively in the last several weeks. So it's been key, and we're certainly going to need it going forward.
Did Trey have to get an ankle retape? Did he tweak something there in the first half?
Yeah, just a slight tweak, but came back in and played well. Kennedy was so hot. It seemed like every time we handed it to him, he was popping one. It was tough to get him. Kind of like Trey last week. It was tough to get Kennedy out of the game.
On your last series of the last drive of the third quarter, Marquise Brown made a 3rd and 11 catch,
huge play,
2 defenders, and
huge
had
play.
Another big gain 2 plays later.
Yeah, he was awesome for us there, especially the 3rd and 11. Because they had some momentum, and I was really proud of a couple of things there. One, I just talked with Kyler before that of, that was when some of the frustrations started to set in for us offensively, and I talked to him about you can't try to just win this thing by yourself right now. You got to just keep trusting it. And that was a great example of that was the right read. And I think a lot of quarterbacks in that situation, 3rd and 11, you kind of feel like, man, we need to make a play, might have held on to it, gone somewhere that the way it wasn't designed. And Kyler trusted it, got it to Marquise in time so that he had some space. And the fact that Kyler trusted it gave Marquise that opportunity. So I was proud of those guys. And that's what your best players got to do, especially in games like that. You're going to have some stuff that works and drawn up and all looks pretty, but you're going to have some plays like that your guys got to make, and he made it.
Lincoln, Jalen Redmond played well the last 3 games. No, he wasn't suited today. Is there an update on his status? Yeah,
a couple updates. Jalen, I don't want to get too much into it as far as in depth, out of respect, for his privacy and his family's. While having a really positive long-term prognosis, there is another I would say occurrence of what he had before. It's not it's much more positive than what it was before, and the outlook is really, really good. There's been a lot of progress, but it is gonna hold him out here for the rest of this year. Also would announce that Alex Dalton in our Tuesday practice tore his ACL in his knee, which is gut-wrenching. It's his third. It's his third one. The only guy I've ever seen with that, and he's been a really valuable member of this team, of this O-line. So, we've had a couple of those last few weeks, just some gut-wrenching injuries that have I'm not going to say they've damaged the psyche of this team, but, you're talking about some of the most kind of beloved figures on this team, and to see some of that happen in the manner it has been, our guys have had to fight through it a little bit. We got a very, very close group that cares about one another, and so, I think we'll use it certainly as inspiration going forward, but I obviously hate it for Alex, especially, here towards the end of his career.
Who's your backup center now?
That's a good question.
Who's your third string
Is it
running
Logan?
No. What's that?
back? Third string running back.
That's a good question today. We would have had to have gotten creative.
Lincoln, when you guys are inevitably compared to a bunch of different teams. You could talk about sort of big goals being out there for you. When they question your defense week after week after week, and then there's kind of a day like today where you got a couple of stops, but it was tough most of the day. Do you understand why people question that, and what kind of your reaction to that?
I just don't listen to it because I know, just like it has here the previous 3 years, you just have to win. It's about winning. It's not about this team playing that team, this and that. It's about your matchup on the field each and every Saturday, and at the end of the game, do you win or do you lose? And the result here has been the last few years when we've taken care of business in the conference, we've taken care of business out of conference, we've been in the playoff. The 1 year we didn't take care of business out of the conference, we were, probably one slot out of the playoff. So that's, you just have to win. Everybody wants to make these predictions and all that right now. We've been through this. We know how it goes. And if we continue to win, we're going to be in great shape.
Do you feel like you stack up well, just given what you've got, if you were to get to that point?
Oh, I'll take this team against anybody. Just like we're just as capable as we've been any year, and I think we all know, how close we've been. Absolutely.
Second straight week, Lincoln, that you've lamented an opportunity to separate a little bit, and it's weird to ask you, given the numbers you're amassing offensively at 700 yards today. So it's weird to ask if you need to be better offensively.
Sure.
Yet it seems that's become.
No, it's not. No, it's not weird to ask. It's. You see those opportunities, you know what you're capable of. Now, we also understand other teams have scholarship players and really good coaches, and they work really hard too, so we're not going to make every play. But, no, those are golden opportunities, and it's certainly something we can point to as an offense and say some of these opportunities to separate, especially kind of right out of half like we've had the last couple of weeks, these are different games if we do that. And, it's absolutely something we got to get better at.
A lot of people might focus on the defense, but offensively, how do you feel like this team stacks up with some of the teams in college football?
I don't know. I don't watch a lot of other teams' offense. I'm not taking anybody over ours, though. I promise you that.
You talked about that you expected Oklahoma State to go for two there at the end. What was the process like figuring out how you're going to defend that play, and how did you see that play?
Yeah, it worked out good because we were able to – there was a timeout before the special teams play, so we were able to talk about it a little bit before the series. Ruffin was able to get his thoughts together. Defensive staff had some good communication and had a call that we felt like would be good. And so, yeah, just good organization by those guys. Of course, you get to whatever it was, 4th and 19. You're not certainly expecting to have to use it, but we did, and it obviously paid off.
What happened with Texas and West Virginia kind of put that in your mind this week, that scenario?
Not really. I know Mike. Mike's just the whole situation where I don't know that I would say any way that their season's gone. I would have a point in that. I honestly can't imagine many scenarios where he wouldn't have done that. And if the roles would have been reversed, I'd have done the same thing. So, I give him credit. It's a bold call, but he's a bold coach. That's why he's been as successful as he has been.
This is a little bit out there, but can you kind of describe your emotions going from defending that last drive, the 2-point conversion, and then having to get the kneel down, and then you basically walked up to your wife and gave her a hug and then carried your daughter off the field? Can you describe your own emotions in that moment?
Yeah, no, it's still a little surreal. Doing all that at this place, on that field, winning a historic game in the fashion that we did, getting to do this job I get to do every day, and then celebrate with my family. So it's as good as it gets. I love it.
You talk about just
losing their beloved figures and then having several games where it's come down to the last second. What does that say about the resolve of this team? You really are kind of emotional when you say you would take them over everybody else.
Yeah, no, it's this team's got a lot of fight in them, and that's why I know we're going to continue to get better, and I know there's a lot of big things in front of us, and so in big moments that I absolutely feel we'll be ready for. And so, if you can have all the other stuff, but if you don't have the fight in the heart, you don't have a prayer, especially this time of year. And so we got that. There's certainly all areas that we got to get better at. We'll own those and we'll go attack those. But our fight stays like this, we're going to have a chance against anybody we line up against.
Lincoln, as a head coach, can you just talk about what you work with your staff on your cornerbacks? Because Trey Norwood had a rough night tonight. Cardinals had rough nights, but he's come back and played well. Trey Brown probably had rough nights, but then he makes a play at the end. Just working with those guys mentally, how tough is that in this league?
Oh, it's like any player. But it is. Their mistakes happen in front of everybody. Where an offensive lineman's this or that don't always happen that same way. Everybody sees when a quarterback messes up. Everybody sees when a DB gets beat on a play. I think it's a couple things. One, it still takes 11. If you've got the opportunity to give help with safeties or to control the pass rush up front or control the run game where you can give those guys more help, it all works in sync. And so there's plays that our corners have got to play better. Have we had some games this year where we've played better? No doubt. We gave up some big ones today that we have not been giving up, so we got to grow. But that's a confident group. It's a talented group. They've played well for us, and they will again.
Thanks.